Madhubatarithayate madhuksharanti sindhavah madviirna santoshadhihi madhunaktam utoshasi madhumatpartiva gumrajam madhudaurastuna pitam madhumanno vanaspatir madhumagumastu surjam madvirgavo bhavantuna. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the winds blow sweetly. May the rivers flow sweetly. May days and nights be sweet to us. May the trees and plants be sweet to us. May the dust of the earth be sweet to us. May the sun shine on us sweetly. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be blissful. Om, peace, peace, peace be to all. This morning our subject is stories of Vedanta monks. As you remember, I started this series of lecture based on the second generation monks of the Ramakrishna order. Sri Ramakrishna started his order. First generation was his disciples. They are trained by Ramakrishna. Then the second generation were trained by Ramakrishna's disciples, and we are the third generation. Last June I talked on Swami Ashishananda, disciple of Sri Holy Mother. Last December I gave a talk on Swami Nikhilananda. And January I talked about Swami Prabhavananda. These monks did the pioneering work in the West. Then I shall talk today about Swami Bodhananda and Swami Pavitrananda. Before I begin my main subject, I shall give you a little introduction about monasticism. Every human being has some attachment or detachment. We cannot help it. We love something, we just avoid something. It is natural. Attachment and detachment. I remember once Christopher Isharu told me, Swami, don't use the word renunciation. In the West, people sometimes think renunciation is something very negative. It is not negative, it is negative and positive both. It is just like a leech which holds one blade of grass and takes the another. This is the way it moves. So renunciation means you give up something which is inferior and holding which is something superior. That is called renunciation. Anyhow, ordinary people are attached to the worldly things and detached from God. Spiritual people just reverse. They are attached to God and they avoid, they are detached from the world. I remember a story. A householder devotee came to Belur Math, Swami Brahmananda, a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, spiritual son of the Master, bowed down to him. Swami, what are you doing? You are a man of renunciation and you are bowing down to me? The Swami replied, your renunciation surpassed my renunciation. I renounced the impermanent world for the permanent God. And you have renounced permanent God for impermanent world. So your renunciation surpassed my renunciation. Very, very beautiful story. monastic tradition of India. We find monasticism in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Catholicism in Christianity. But monastic ideal is not in Judaism, in Islam, in Protestantism, and some other religions also. Shintoism, Sikhism, they do not have monastics. I have 188 Upanishads. Some of those Upanishads are directly connected with monasticism, such as Sannyas Upanishad, Bhikshu Upanishad, Hangsha Upanishad, Paramahamsa Upanishad, Jabal Upanishad, Paramahamsa Paribrajaka Upanishad. All these Upanishads talk about monasticism. Very interesting are those Upanishads. In Vedic tradition, there are 4 goals and 4 stages of life. 4 goals: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. You must lead righteous life, religious life, spiritual life. Second, artha. You must earn money in a very proper way, in a righteous way. That is artha. Kama. You must fulfill your legitimate desires according to the injunction of the scriptures. Fourth, moksha. Liberation. That is the goal. Similarly, there are 4 stages of life. Brahmacharya, student's life. Garastha life, householder's life. Vanaprastha, that is the retired life, life for the recluse, and monastic life, sannyas. So in the Vedic period, they tried to think human beings are supposed to live 100 years. Shatayudvai purushaha. So first 25 years you spent for student's life. Build your life, build your character, have good education. Then householder's life. Go get married, have children, have family. Then they did not stop there. Panchashodam branam brajat. After 50 you must renounce. You must go for retirement in the forest. You can go with your wife and can spend time for prayers and meditation, give responsibility to your children. Next 25 years, monastic life. That is the way they set up their life in Vedic tradition. Then in the Jabala Upanishad, there is a story. Janaka went to Yajnavalkya and asked about monastic life. He said, look, first be a student, then be a householder, then retire, and then be a monk. But Jodiba Itoratha, it depends upon the gradation, intensity of your renunciation. If you have renunciation, you can jump from one stage to the other. From brahmacharya, you can go for sannyas. From householder's life, you can go for sannyas. Or from retired life, you can jump into sannyas. It depends upon your intensity of renunciation. It is in Jabala Upanishad. This is the way the Vedantic monasticism has been set up. The Paramahamsa Sannyasin, very strict. They follow very strict rules. They must not touch even the gold, money. They must lead a very pure life, moving around. Why there is so much strict rule for the monastics? Do you know why? Because they are the world teachers. If you want to be a teacher, your life should be ideal. Chaitanya said, a monk's a little mistake is very visible. A white cloth, if there is a one drop of ink, it is visible. People see. Oh, the verse is so beautiful. Sannasir alpo chidra sarvaloke gai, shukla vastre moshibindu joise na lukai. You cannot hide that black dot from your white cloth. It is visible. Similarly, this monastic life, if you have any loopholes, any weakness of your character, it is visible. People will talk about it. They will spread a scandal against you. So be very careful. If you want to be a monk, your time must be pure and perfect. That's all. Itamevo prabrajino phalamichanta prabrajanti. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, there are 3 lokas, there are 3 abodes you can go. Generally, ordinary people, they go that way. You conquer this manushya loka, this human abode, through progeny. My children will inherit my everything. You can conquer your pitri loka, the abode of the ancestors, through karma, action. You can abode heaven, devaloka, through prayer and meditation. These are the 3 lokas. If you go, you will be recycled. Again, you will have to come back. No liberation. But Atma Loka, if you meditate, if you try to reach the Atman, your indwelling self, the Brahman, God, you will be liberated. There are various kinds of sannyas. As I already said, it depends upon the gradation of your renunciation, how intense your liberation is. First kind of monks is called Kutichak. They stay in one place, they do not travel, they do not move. Maybe sometimes their health reason, old, took monastic vows, they depend on their income or their children. They may live in home or they may live in a temple or in a monastery and asking sons and just provide him food and everything. They're Kuchichak Sannyasi. Very little renunciation. Next, Bahudak. Bahu means many. Udak means water. When the monk who travels from place to place, holy place, tirtha to tirtha, they are itinerant monks, live on begging. They are called Bahudak Sannyasi. Next is Hangsha. Their renunciation is a little bit more. They do not stay in one place more than 1 or 3 days. They constantly move so that they may not feel attachment for any particular place or any particular people. Hangsha. Sri Ramakrishna's Guru Totapuri never stayed in one place more than 3 days. Constantly traveling. Then comes Paramahansa Sannyasi. They are the top class. They have tremendous renunciation for the world. They only meditate on God and practice spiritual disciplines. Among that group also there are 2 kinds. Vividisha Sannyas or Vidvat Sannyas. Vividisha means he knows God, Brahman, Atman from the scriptures, from the Guru, but they have not yet direct experience. They know it. Intellectually they are convinced God exists and they are trying utmost to realize God, but have not yet attained that stage. They discriminate. Do you know how do they discriminate? Na karmana, na manasa, na sejjaya, na dhane, na tyage, naiki amritattamanashuhu. The Upanishad says, they know this Atman cannot be attained through karma, action. Dhanena, through money. Prajaya, through progeny. Chejaya, through sacrifice. Only through renunciation alone, this Atman can be attained. Renounce the world. Next group is Vidya Sannyas. They have experience. After experiencing God, they take sannyas. Example, Sri Ramakrishna, Shankara, Chaitanya. They realized God and then they took sannyas to demonstrate, to be a world teacher. You see, if you are a householder, you cannot teach the highest renunciation. How can you? I am enjoying world, at the same time I am talking about renunciation, it does not work. That is the reason Chaitanya told his mother, stay at home, my son. But no, I have wife. I have you. Mother, people will not take my words. They say that you are a householder, you cannot talk about God. The person who lives in God, only he can talk about God. So you see, it is very difficult to become a monk. So Paramahansa Sannyasi, what is their goal? Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti Sukha Prapti He Tabe Janma Dharitam Atmana Nitya Mukti Na Natu Sangsara Kamya. This is the highest achievement you can think of in this life, is called Jivan Mukti. Free while you are alive in this world. That is the goal. Otherwise your Atman is ever pure, ever perfect. It is not necessary for you to be born. You are born in this world just to taste the bliss of Jivan Mukti. That is the goal of the Paramahansa Sannyasi. Now the question will arise, how to attain renunciation? A Vedanta teacher says there are 4 ways you can achieve renunciation. First, Mrityu Chinta, think about death. This body will die. It is an impermanent place. What shall I do? I must achieve something. That will, those who work in crematorium, perhaps they have more renunciation. All the time they are burning the bodies, you know. Second, Vishaya Dosha Darshanam. See fault in the worldly things. It brings so much pain, misery, suffering. Still I am attached to those things. Third, Sadhu Sangha, holy company. Holy company is the most easiest things to attain devotion. Just live with them. Do you know how does holy company work? You can go to a perfume shop, in what is called Macy or some other places. You just stand near that shop. You like it or don't like it. Your perfume, that the smell, that fragrance will penetrate through your nostrils. You cannot help it. Instantly it will go. Same thing, you go near the ocean. You stand there, you like it or don't like it. The ocean breeze will soothe your body, your mind, your system. Holy company does the same way. If you really have a real holy person in your life, you will find that very soothing, penetrating inside. Fourth, Bhagavat Anurukti, love for God. These are the 4 ways you can attain devotion. The more you go toward the east, the west will stay far, far, far behind. That is called spiritual life. Move onward, move forward. Then how shall I pass my days? Ashukte amrite kalam nayad Vedanta chintaya. Till you go to sleep, till you die, think about Vedanta. Means your Atman. Think about yourself. Do not waste your time. Life is very short. That is my introduction. Last time I talked to you, Swami Pavitrananda. I lived with him for 5 years. I could not finish the whole thing which I wanted to tell you. Just a few more stories I shall tell. He came to America in 1923, at the age of 30. Came to San Francisco, then he went to Portland, Oregon, then he came to Los Angeles. Los Angeles Vedanta Society is very big. Swamiji's teacher, you must not say Swamiji's devotee, Mrs. Wyckoff, Swamiji stayed with them in Pasadena. That house now belongs to Vedanta Society. Those 3 sisters are devoted to Swamiji. So Mrs. Wyckoff's son died, Ralph. So Prabhupada came and took him as her son and gave her house, and Vedanta Society started. And Swami died in 4th July 1976. I remember he died in front of me. I remember one day he told me, Uncle Maharaj, it is very difficult to teach Vedanta. If you want to learn Vedanta, you will have to be first a good student. Who are the good students? You need a background to understand. Then Swami said, don't think that Narada and Shukadeva will come to you to learn Vedanta. These American people, if they come, if you can give them this Vedantic knowledge and how to practice it, that will be enough. Just teach them how to practice Vedanta in day-to-day life. I shall never forget that words, what Swamiji said. Swami went through very hardship. He came to Los Angeles in 1930, then came the depression. He used to tell me, we did not have any food. At night time we used to eat popcorn and milk. You cannot afford to buy a meal. One American devotee would go for a private tuition in Beverly Hills, bring some money, and somehow we managed. When I heard their hardship and the struggle, I simply think, my goodness, at that time very few Indians in this country, in 1920s, in 1930s. They struggle. Then of course he built monastery and convent. There are 2 convents, Hollywood and Santa Barbara. When I came, there are nearly 25 nuns in Hollywood and Santa Barbara, and 3 monasteries. Nearly monks also, nearly 25, 30 monks. It was a very big center. And they did a lot of work. And he got a very great intellectual group of people. Gerald Hart, Aldous Huxley, Christopher Isherwood. They are top-ranking writers and intellectuals in the world. They became disciples of Prabhupada. And they edited Prabhupada's books, and they will become very popular all over the world. I had a habit to write diary. Every day I used to go to him when he would go for a walk at 10:30. He used to live near the temple and our monastery was above the hill. So I used to come and sometimes walk with him. And sometimes when he would say, because he met Holy Mother and most of the Jari disciples of Ramakrishna, he would tell all the stories and I used to come back and sometimes I used to write in my diary. Swami told me this story. It is a beautiful story. One day Swami Vivekananda was teaching Sanskrit grammar to the monks. And it was evening. Swami Premananda asked the monks, please come and join the Vesper. Swami just scolded him. You only know how to worship. I am teaching the grammar. Is it not the worship for Sri Ramakrishna? He scolded him. So Premananda went and did the arati by himself. Then Swamiji understood his mistake. He went to the shrine and bumped his head on the altar and said, Master, please forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. He told me that Swami Shuddhananda, Swamiji's disciple, saw that incident and told him. He told me another story. Swami Dhirananda, a disciple of Swamiji, asked Swami Brahmananda, Swami, please make some more rules for the monks. In monastic life, we must follow some rules and regulations. Swami Brahmananda looked at him and said, Swamiji already made some rules. Well, that is not enough. Then Swami Brahmananda said, look, brother, instead of making rules, increase your love. Rules does not make a person perfect. When Swamiji framed the rules, do you know what did he say? We have some bad habits. To counteract those bad habits, we must have some rules. But do you know what is our goal? Our goal is to become an outlaw, to go beyond the rules. Our scripture says, Nistrigan nepoti vicharatam ko vidhi ko nisheda. When you follow the path of Nirgun Brahman, there should not be any injunctions and prohibitions of the scriptures. You must be free from rules. Love and freedom, these are the two conditions of growth. Swami told another story. A young man had some sleep, he did something immoral. So he used to come to Brahmananda quite often, so he became very embarrassed to see him. So one day, Maharaj Swami Brahmananda was in Calcutta, so this young man came to see his friends. So Brahmananda saw him all of a sudden and said, Tabu. He knew that all the stories about him. Have you seen buffalo? Yes, Maharaj. Did you see the big horn of the buffalo? Well, yes. If a mosquito sits on the horn of a buffalo, does the buffalo feel? He kept quiet. I am that buffalo. When you made a little mistake, that does not bother me at all. You see, he had the power. He could raise a person's mind from lower plane to the higher plane. They are Putit Pavun. They are saviors of the fallen. He told me those stories. It 15/3/1974, Hollywood. He told me, Swami Brahmananda compiled a book called Sri Sri Ramakrishna Rupadesh. In English it has been translated Words of the Master. So Maharaj told him, Master dictates and I write. Sri Ramakrishna passed away in 1886 and he was compiling these things in 1900. So the Master comes and dictates and I write. You can imagine how faithful those teachings are. Then he said, Master came and told, I wrote something from my memory. Master said, I did not say that. So he called his secretary, hey, remove that thing from that manuscript. He used to tell all these stories to me. Anyhow, I just told you these some stories I could not finish that day, so I told you those stories. Now I shall tell you about Swami Pavitrananda. I met him in 1971 when I first came to New York. I remember I went to Vedanta Society, stayed there 3-4 days. That was my first visit. And he arranged my tour in New York City. I still remember I went to that new Empire State Building and all the important places of New York. I had correspondence with him from 1960 when I was a brahmachari in Advaita Ashrama. I used to do shopping for him, whatever things he needed. But every summer he used to come to Hollywood. New York was very hot. 2 months he stayed with us in Hollywood. And he used to stay next to my room. And Swami Pavitrananda had some disciples. They used to give house to Swami whole summer in Laguna Beach or in Malibu Beach. And all these senior Swamis would come and stay there for a month or 2, and they used to talk about God and about the Jari disciples. At that time it was just like a Kumbh Mela, I tell you frankly. It was so wonderful to be with them. If I could, at that time, I started to write diary, but not detailed diary. If I can record their conversation, it would be so valuable for us. So Pavitrananda would come every summer, and after supper, I used to go to his room and he used to tell me all these stories of the Jari disciples. 13th July 1972, Hollywood. Swami Pavitrananda said, I used to argue with Swami Turiyananda, the knower of Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna used to call him Gitokta Yogi. He experimented Gita in his life. So I used to argue with him. But Maharaj was very fond of me, very affectionate. Then Swami Turiyananda asked, what do you want? Maharaj, I do not know what I want, but I know what I do not want. I do not want this world. Then Swami Turiyananda said, my boy, do not fight with your own shadow. That is a great message of Vedanta. We are all fighting with our shadows. Maya, which is impermanent things. Tuchya padartha. He says that don't fight. Sometimes, do you know what? Sometimes we fight too much. I must get rid of this bad habit, I must get... Just ignore it. Don't look at it. That is a secret. Or one of the Vedanta teachers said, suppose a person has too much lust, or anger, or greed. Instead of thinking about the things, just focus, divert your mind to something which will give you more joy. Instead of fighting and fighting, you are losing your energy and time, just divert the mind. Do you know what? There is called tamasic dhyan. They meditate on the enemies. Of how can I take revenge? Of I shall do this, I shall do this. Boom, boom, boom. You will find in the shrine, how many thoughts are coming. Just ignore that person. The more you think about it, that means that person is getting more importance. Don't give any importance. That is our problem. We give importance to impermanent things and fight. That he is talking about. Don't fight. Just divert your mind. You understand? Well, these ditches there, lust or greed, they are. No, I shall not look at you. Then that person will be ignored and will go away from your mind. That is the secret. July 1971, Hollywood. Swami was telling me, I had a little problem in the beginning of my monastic life. I could not get up very early in the morning. I tried, but then morning I was very drowsy, I could not work, I could not function well. So I went to Swami Shivananda, a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and told him about my problem. Swami said, Swami, how do you do? Well, I get up very early in the morning, 4:30. Then I meditate 2-3 hours. Then whole day I get that intoxication, nesha. I get some kind of divine inebriation, intoxication. That carries me the whole day. Then Swami said, Maharaj, but I have this problem. I feel drowsy, my head is not clear, I cannot concentrate. Then Swami said, my boy, sleep well. Have a good sleep. And then you meditate, repeat mantra, japam as much as you can. Then he told another beautiful solution. You see, some students pass the examination reading very little. And some students pass the examination reading a lot. So perhaps you are a good student, only little reading will be enough for you. That is a very good solution. Then in 1930s he was asked to be the editor of the Prabuddha Bharata in Mayavati, in the Himalayas. So he went to Swami Shivananda and said, Maharaj, I don't feel that I am fit to be the editor. I do not have self-confidence. Then Swami replied, let me tell you the solution. Meditate well. And learn how to think deeply. Take one thought and hold on that thought. You see, sometimes our thoughts jump one after another. We do not know how to hold one thought. If you hold one thought and deeply you think about it, you penetrate and new ideas will flash in your mind. That is the secret. But he did not give any other advice. 2nd July 1971, Trubuco Monastery. I took the secretary of YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association, to Swami Shivananda. Then secretary, he is an Englishman, asked Swami Shivananda, why so much misery in the world? Swami Shivananda, I don't know, but I know how to get rid of it. I do not know what is Maya, but I can tell you how to get rid of Maya. Why cannot be answered in this dualistic world? Because you are communicating through Maya. Then the secretary said, I asked the Christians, have you seen God? They reply, yes. And I asked the same question to the Hindus, and they reply, no. So does not prove that Christ's path is the best way to realize God? Swami Shivananda, I don't know. Secretary, have you seen God? Yes, I have seen God, but I don't know the limit of God realization. One of our Upanishads says, Abhigyatam, Vijanatam, Vigyatam, Abhijanatam. Those who say we know, they do not know. Those who say we do not know, they know. Do you know what that means? It means one cannot know God through the senses, through the mind, which is beyond. Then how can we know? Pratibodha viditam matam amritattami bindati atmana bindati virijam vidyaya bindati amritam. Pratibodha viditam. In every thought wave, you can feel the presence of God. Or aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahman, aham brahman, aham brahman. That is the way one can have that God realization. July 1975, Hollywood, Swami Pavitrananda. He went to Swami Sharadananda and asked, Swami, let me be frank with you, I am a monk, but I don't feel that I am working for God. It is a big problem, all of us. Do you feel? Then Swami Sharadananda says, is it your work? No. Do you get salary here? No. Do you work for your parents? No. So these things you are sure that it is not your work, you are not working for your family, you are not getting any salary here. Well, that is correct. Well, that will be enough. Now you can go. Later you will know for whom you are working. It is amazing how these people taught them. Then Swami was transferred to South India. He said, Swami, you are sending me for preaching and all those things. I have no confusions. Then he said, those who think that I am fit, that comes from ego. I am fit, I can be the President of the United States, all ego. Yeah, it is all ego. All this presidential race you see, this is all fight of the ego. I. Of course, I is necessary. But if we think that I am not fit, that kind of feeling, it comes from a strength. Then he cautioned me, listen, when you lecture, never embellish anything. Sometimes some people lecture, the color, they make it very palatable and very extra words. Then you will deviate from the truth. You must speak the truth. I got a great lesson from him. Never embellish or things, colorize things and do this and that. No. Another Swami told me, never use superlative degree. He is the greatest. He is the best. He is. How do you know that he is the greatest? Never use superlative degree in your lecture. The Swami had a stack of letters of direct disciples of Swami Sri Ramakrishna, Turiyananda's letters. So one day I told him, Maharaj, you must publish those letters. They should come in public domain. No, those are my private letters. I told him, Turiyananda's letters must come to the public domain. There are so many spiritual instructions in those letters. I argued with him for a long time at night. He was a very strong-willed person. Then He wrote to me. Then he returned to, I'm talking about in 75. He returned to New York, and then he was not well, he was in hospital. Then he copied all those letters and sent to Udbodhan for publication. Then he wrote me back, I obeyed you. I transcribed, I copied all those letters and sent for publications. Uncle, very good. Those precious things must come in public domain. And those letters I translated into English. In Spiritual Treasures, in that book you will find. My goodness. I don't know how much I shall be able to cover to Swami Bodhananda. At least 15 minutes I shall try. Bodhananda came to America, I think, in 1908. Died in 1950 or 51. He was a disciple of Swami Vivekananda. I got a diary in the archives of Vedanta Society of New York in 1979. And then this winter, in a whole month I only copied that diary and made this manuscript. This would be a book, a huge volume, Prachin Sadhuder Katha, stories of the ancient monks, old monks of the Ramakrishna order. He says, I have seen Swamiji meditating in Alambajar monastery. His breathing was deep and rhythmical. And his facial expression, I cannot describe, just beaming with joy. I joined the monastery in 1890. At that time, we did not suffer from food, but there was no artificial discipline or training there. But we had tremendous freedom. I saw the monks are meditating, and so we also meditate with them. In the beginning, I was connected with Ramchandra Datta, a householder disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, who used to preach Ramakrishna as an avatar. So those who have seen Ramakrishna, they will be liberated. Then I argued with him. There are some people in Dakshineshwar temple, the boatman, the horse carriage driver, they saw Sri Ramakrishna, will they be liberated? Then Ramdatta became very angry. You go and take the dust of that coachman, the drivers and the boatmen. They are more spiritual than all you. They have seen Sri Ramakrishna. They have seen God. So he got a scolding. I have seen Swami Brahmananda. He was just like a spiritual dynamo. If you go near him, your mind will be automatically will go in a higher level of consciousness. Another person, Nag Mahashaya, Saint Durga Charan Nag. He was a householder, but he was a knower of God, and he embodiment of spirituality. Swamiji's personality was something unique. Whenever he talked about sociology, education, different problems of the country, but those things are just external. But his inside was full of spirituality. I used to notice that some monks, they used to repeat some hymns, and they used to memorize the Gita and the Upanishads. Another person I met, Purna Chandra Ghosh, a householder disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna told him, Ishwar Koti. Koti means akin to God. But his parents forced him to get married. And he was a government officer during the British period, died in 1911. He had tuberculosis. Well, I used to go and see and have tea with him. He would not talk much about Sri Ramakrishna, but he was little shy to talk about God. That Sri Ramakrishna used to talk so highly about me, and now see, I am caught by Maya, wife, children, family. But do you know what? Sri Ramakrishna wanted to demonstrate. Here is my group of disciples, Vivekananda, Brahmananda, monastics. Here are my disciples, M, Nagmashai, Purna. They are householders. They are also highly spiritual knower of God. You see, God realization does not depend upon the color of the cloth. It depends upon the color of the mind. If your mind is colored with the spirituality, ochre color, you are more spiritual than the monk who is not so highly developed. He mentioned one thing. Swamiji wrote a poem, Kali the Mother, in 1898 in Kashmir. After writing that poem, he was so much inspired that he fell down. And later on, when Swamiji read that poem, he said, I can visualize the mother. The mother is dancing in front of me. You know, he used to tell all these stories, what he saw in Swamiji. I read his reminiscences, which was published in 1931 or 1932 in Vedanta magazine. When I left home, my two eyes cried. Swamiji said, my one eye cried for my mother. I love that woman. And my another eye cried for my Guru. I loved him. And if I would not renounce my family, Sri Ramakrishna's message would not spread. He told many stories about the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Then he said, Girish Chandra Ghosh went to Jairambati, asking Holy Mother that he wanted to be a monk. Well, I was present. Girish started to scold Holy Mother. Why did you put me in this world? You can liberate me. Mother said, no, my son, listen. You are an actor. You are a playwright. Sri Ramakrishna asked you to continue that work. Through your writing, through your acting, many people will get spiritual benefit. Please continue your work. But he was very rough. The mother was a little bit shaky on that day. That way, he was a bohemian, drunk. He used to scold Sri Ramakrishna also. If you love somebody, you can scold. When I first day saw Swamiji in Alam Bazar, I saw his face as if tremendous power and light, and his whole body was emanated with light. He was making fun and joke. But in the evening I saw he was walking on the roof of the monastery, as if when he was walking, because his step, every step, as if he is telling this whole world is under my feet. I have full control over Maya. Early days Swamiji used to say, either Maya will die or I shall die, either one. Both cannot live together. Swami Girish Ghosh used to say, Mahamaya is afraid to go near him. Blazing fire, full of consciousness, divine knowledge. One day Swamiji scolded Premananda for it. particular project. Then he lamented that Sri Ramakrishna loved him and I scold him. It is because of my defect, if I see fault in them. Swamiji was coming from Mayabhuti. It was in Pilibhit railway station in UP. Swamiji had a second class ticket, he entered. And there was during the British period, no Indians are allowed to travel by first class or second class. You go interclass or third class. There are 4 classes in Indian railways. First class, second class, interclass, third class. So for your natives, you are for this. So Swamiji was second class, one military colonel was there. He objected. That, that he asked the station, he couldn't saw that Swamiji and this group. So he called the station master. The station master came and asked Swamiji, please you to go to another compartment. How dare you tell me that? How dare you to say that? Give me your name and number. The station master was so scared, seeing Swamiji, he ran away. And then the colonel lived with Swamiji in that compartment. It's a tremendous power. Swamiji asked his disciple, go to Dhaka and preach Vedanta. He says, Swamiji, I have no realization of God. Without knowing God, how can I talk about God? That was his argument. Swamiji said, but let me practice japa and meditation, then I shall talk about God. Swamiji excited. Look, those who only strive for their own liberation, they will go to hell. And if you work for the liberation of others, bravo. You will go in the higher realm in no time. What a great Guru Swamiji was. Don't be selfish. We saw Latu Maharaj, he was lying down under a blanket, thinking people would think that he was sleeping, but he was meditating. That is the way he used to meditate. He talked about Brahmananda. He could change the spiritual atmosphere within a minute. Within a certain area, people's mind will be uplifted. He has so much power. A famous writer, Devendranath Boshu, who met Sri Ramakrishna, he came very depressed, very down. Swami Brahmananda touched his chest. Bas. All doubt dispelled. And he got inspiration, upliftment. Swami Premananda, he says, he was the embodiment of love, so humble. But he was a little pride. One day he said, he did not like people eat meat and fish. He was a vegetarian. So, Sri Ramakrishna appeared before him. Why do you look down upon them? You think because you are vegetarian, you are higher than them? So he went there and apologized, Master, I made a mistake. Do you know how do I look at it? These disciples had direct communication with Sri Ramakrishna. When they made any mistakes, Sri Ramakrishna would come and correct them. So he went and touched that fish-cutting knife with his tongue. Master, I shall never see fault in others. Please forgive me. He used to say, a monk's anger should be like a mark on the water. It should not just stay long. How the Jari disciples had laughed for each other. Swami Ramakrishnananda came from Madras and saw Swami Brahmananda was meditating till 10 o'clock. He went and asked, what is the matter? He asked his attendants, why do you allow him to meditate such a long period? Do you know what will happen? He will give up the body. The moment he will know who he was, he will give up his body. So he went there and shook him. What are you doing? Brother, I am meditating. What shall I do? No, you will not have to meditate. You please come and let us talk. How they had mutual love and mutual understanding. We know Swamiji when he was in America. He used to give a class, and in Raja Yoga class he was meditating. Bas. 1 hour passed, the whole audience left the hall. Then after some time, when his consciousness came back, he found the hall was empty. It happened in London also. They had so much concentration. He talked about Sister Niveditha. This would be the 150th anniversary of Sister Niveditha. Niveditha was going by horse carriage through Calcutta and found a dog was hit by a car. So he stopped his carriage, took the dog, went to a shop, bought some milk, and nursed the dog until it is okay. She did not leave. She was a very powerful woman. I have never seen anybody love India like Sister Niveditha. Margaret Noble was Swamiji's disciple. One day I asked Swami Sharadhananda, do you see Brahman everywhere? Yes, I do. Do you see Brahman in this bookcase? Yes. Then Swami Sharadhananda told that, Swami Sri Ramakrishna told me, if you can memorize this song, then you will get tremendous benefit from your life. In a spiritual life. Natha tumi sarvosya amar pranadhar saratsar nahi tuma bine kehu tribhuvane bolivar apanar. That song we put it there. Thou art my all in all, O Lord, the life of my life, the essence of essence. You will find, I think it is handout 1 or 2, you will find out there. That song, memorize. Well, that will help you to understand that who is the doer. You or God. God is doing. You are just as an instrument. So one devotee asked Swami Sharadhananda, sorry, I passed my time, that Mahatma Gandhi is doing such a great work. See his influence all over India. Swami Sharadhananda was irritated and told him, what are you talking about? God selects people and He knows through whom He will work and what He will work. God wanted that kind of work through Gandhi, so He is doing. And God, whatever wants me to do, I am doing. Why are you comparing Gandhi and ourselves? Then Swami Turiyananda said, the person who tries to climb the tree, he may fall. But the person who does not make any effort, he has no chance to fall. So in spiritual life, make an effort. Thank you. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhanaktu, sahaviryam karavavai, tejasvena vadhitamastu ma vidvisha bhai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May Brahman protect us, may He guide us, may He give us strength and right understanding. The love and harmony be with us all. Om, peace, peace, peace be with all.